Welcome to the Honest Designers Show, your transparent look into life as a modern designer. My name's Tom Ross and I'm the founder at designcuts.com, and this week I'm joined by my fellow Brit and hand lettering expert, Mr. Ian Barnard, American retro design expert, Dustin Lee, and the incredibly talented South African illustrator, Lisa Glantz. This week, we are talking about scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. And the first one doesn't sound very fun at all. The second one sounds quite fun and lovely. So we're going to dig into how to hopefully achieve more of an abundance mindset and shed sort of that scarcity mindset that, to be honest, every single one of us experiences at some point, if not constantly. So without further ado, let's get into the show. Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey. Do you all feel like you've got a good understanding of what
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Oh, hey, it's been a while. Just for context, we're batch recording, so I've been with these suckers for far too long today already. They've made me go all silly. Well, I think I can. I'm going to attempt it. Before I do you guys feel like you have a good definition in your head of what it is? Scarcity mindset?
Kinda, yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. Let me give it my best shot, and then maybe give your definition.
We'll tell you whether it's crap or not.
Okay, thank you. In my mind, it's often closely linked to imposter syndrome, and it's where people, as the name suggests, they think very scarcely when it comes to, I guess, opportunities. It's limiting beliefs, is what it is. It's that scarcity mindset of, I'm not going to go for that new client because I need to hold on to the ones I've got. I'm not going to charge more because I don't feel like I can. And I feel like I need to just kind of grab the pennies that I currently am. It's the opposite of being overreaching. It's the opposite of being ambitious. It's very much like I'm staying put in my little safe cave because I don't want to poke my head out and see what more the world has to offer. It's not a very good definition, but that's kind of how I think about it.
Felt like you just described my life. Yeah.
No, Dustin, come on.
I'm just joking. Although sometimes I do feel like I live in my little cave and I pop out
like a gopher.
So often when I'm feeling optimistic.
And then someone comes down with a mallet.
That was really sweet.
That was quite sweet. For anyone listening, do go and watch the YouTube video because Dustin makes an adorable gopher.
Yeah. We need to turn that into a little GIF.
Oh,
yeah, we do actually. Oh, yes.
That could be your animated thing from last episode, Lisa.
Yes.
Go for Dustin.
Dustin the gopher.
That'd be so good. Yeah, I've pretty much butchered that. I think it makes sense. I just didn't articulate it very well.
I think that's kind of like for me, that's like a portion of it. But I think more in a holistic point of view, it's more a case of the scarcity mentality is like there's only one loaf of bread out there that we all need to grab a slice of, and when that loaf of bread is cut up and handed out and I didn't get any, that's it, there's no more left. And I don't think that that's the case at all. I think there's enough to go around for everyone. I really do believe that. And it's that sense of, well, I'm just another graphic designer in a pool, or another illustrator in another hand letterer in this pool of thousands of others, and how am I ever going to get a job, or how am I ever going to get a client, because it's already taken. And I think if you have that mentality going into the situation, I think you're already kind of starting off on a bad foot, because you tend to already be close to opportunities that may be disguised as not an obvious opportunity. So you're already assuming that it's just not going to work. And I think that's the danger of a scarcity mentality versus a person who has a can-do approach to it, or yes, I will approach, and this is going to work. And you physically, either you go out and look for the opportunities, or when something comes along that kind of smells like an opportunity but you're not 100% sure, you go for it anyway because it could be. And before you know it, it turned out to be this amazing thing. So
or you think you smell opportunity, and in fact it's odor dusting that we talked about last episode. You're like, what is that on you? Is that opportunity? No.
Yeah.
Smell it success. That could be the honest.
Yeah, the fragrance of success.
Just my natural.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with the scarcity mentality is that there's just the demon is in the fact that there's just enough truth to it to always chase you.
Yes.
Damn you, truth. Yeah. You're right there.
Can I give an analogy? Because that always helps my brain.
Oh, I love an analogy.
So it's a bit like, when you're in a grocery store
and you bump into your
loads of checkouts, but only one's open and it's got a long queue. So you get to the back of that queue, and then the scarcity ones are the ones that just put their head down going, oh, I'm going to be for ages. Don't look around. But the ones with the abundance ones look around all the time at different opportunities where someone might open another till, and they get there and they're the first to get there and they get through quickly and they got more time on the other end because they got out quickly. And it's that sort of, does that make sense?
That's the most suburban analogy I've ever heard, but it definitely works.
Yeah.
I like that because that is totally true.
Yeah, it's like you think
living in a dream world where you think there's not enough. Sorry. It's not that you live in a dream world. It's just that you're looking, like that you're optimistic enough to be like, let's see what's out there.
Yeah.
And often you see that person who goes off to the other till and you go, I wish I was like that person. I wish I could see the openings. And you compare, then you're just like in this queue just going, I'm rubbish. I'm rubbish at shopping in grocery stores. I'm rubbish. And then, you just stay there and you're like, should and then you question yourself, should I jump into that queue? Is it going to get better? I don't know. And then you finally do, and you realise that actually you should just stay in the original one. So, yeah.
Did this happen to you recently? I feel like it did.
Yeah.
You had a traumatic experience, and
there's one grocery store that has, but the reason why their prices are so cheap is because the people on the tills are also the people that stack the shelves. So they're like, as soon as like a customer goes through and there's a slight gap, they're back off to stack the shelves. So they're like multiple people in the store.
Wow, that's
doing most people in the store doing multiple jobs.
Right.
So, you get to the till and there's like one open and there's about 6 people in the queue. And then when it gets to about 10, they might call someone else in.
Well,
that's me being aware of what goes on in there. So I know that I'll start queuing up and then suddenly someone will come and open another till. But the problem is, I feel guilty about like jumping on that till when there's like maybe elderly pensioner behind me who's struggling carrying her basket. So I'm like, no, after you.
Oh, mate.
With too long queue.
You gentlemen. No, next time you elbow past that old woman. So doggy, when you're in a scarcity mindset, mate, you can't take any prisoners. So Ethel, you're getting out of the way, I'm afraid.
Yeah, you're getting an elbow. Yeah, I think it's to use your analogy, it's kind of like if you're standing in the queue in a supermarket and they are giving away like free slices of cake, and you're standing in a queue and by the time you get there you're convinced there's going to be nothing left, versus you're standing in the queue and you're convinced there's still going to be something left when you get there. So I think it's how our attitude towards how much there is to go around. And
so I've got not an analogy, but like a real life example where this plays out at scale, and that is the economy. So when you look at times of recession and then you get hugely frothy, abundant markets, the public behavior is completely different. And to give a few examples, when we're in a recession, everyone's holding on to the job they've got, and they're terrified of getting fired because companies are closing down, people are losing their jobs left, right, and center. And stuff like pay rises and promotions are not really happening. So everyone's just grateful to have a job. When the economy is, by contrast, very frothy, people are job hopping all the time. They're getting headhunted. They're being very frivolous with their purchases, which bolsters the economy even further. So they're going and getting the sports car and the extra extension on their house. They have an abundance mindset. They're not even thinking about scarcity. They're just there chucking money around, and the good times are never going to end. And when they invariably do, they completely flip and go into a scarcity mindset out of necessity. And this is something we see time and time again. And I think that example with the economy completely maps to the different mindsets we see within the creative community, because no matter what the market is saying, I see some designers who are living in a self-imposed recession with their mindset, and then others that are living very abundantly. And actually, they're living in the same world. It's just an internal kind of monologue that's dictated. And it might be their situation and circumstance, of course, but often, that situation and circumstance does stem from our mindset.
And abundance doesn't necessarily equals money. Abundance could mean your lifestyle. You've managed to build this beautiful lifestyle to suit your particular needs. So I think that whole thing of we're so scared to share our skills that we've learned along the way, that's a scarcity mentality, because we think if we share it, someone else is going to steal our spot. And I think that if you constantly are living in that fear, I don't think you ever expand your mind or your growth. You don't grow as much, and you also don't you don't get to converse or communicate with other people so much, because you are living in a very closed kind of environment, which isn't good for a creative mind. So,
and as you said that, I started thinking about some of the amazing guests we've had on this show. And for example, we had Becca from Happy Ever Crafter on, and she was talking about, we said, what about competition? And we admitted that all four of us have felt quite scared of having competition before. And she invited them all around for wine and cheese and made friends with them. And they started collaborating on all kinds of awesome stuff that wouldn't have transpired otherwise. And that is a perfect example for me of abundance mindset.
Okay, so I have an idea. So maybe each of us can go around and each of us shares an example from our own work, business, creativity of an abundance mindset we've had, and somewhere where we've had a scarcity mindset.
I like it. Let's do that. You want to kick us off, Big D? I can't get used to that nickname.
Me neither.
I know. It feels like you're some weird girlfriend from high school or something.
Oh, is that what they called you at high school?
I wish. No, I can't go first. I have to think.
Can I go part of it? Because like the scarcity mindset, I think every time once I've released a product and it's sort of been out a little bit of time, and I thought, it's the sort of like, oh no, there's not enough people left to buy my products, or I'm never going to build another product again that's going to sell, or it's just, it's weird because it's like I've been doing this for like years and years, but I still get the fear that like no one's going to buy it, or it's not. I think
that's totally normal. I mean, I even get that as well. Like, when you launch it, you and you don't see the sales rolling in, you think, oh boy, that's it. No one's going to buy another thing from me ever again. I think it's kind of like quite normal to have that initially, although it is weird that we still have it so far down the line.
But that is most definitely a scarcity mindset.
You have someone like Tom who puts out a post that says, don't guess what your audience wants. And for the past 6 years, I've guessed what my audience has wanted.
That's right. I don't know what I'm talking about, mate. Don't pay attention to that.
I think there has been times that those guesses have been completely wrong. So, but and the thing is, I don't think I've truly guessed. It's been through probably what I've been hearing, and I just subtly make that into something. But
yeah, and you continually adjust based on what works and what doesn't.
You're
not shooting blind, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, talking about like my personal content there, I guess I felt quite a lot of abundance when I think I was one of the first couple of people doing the whole carousel thing within the space. So I was very early to that. And I thought, this is great. There's only like one or two other people doing this and it works really well. And yeah, it felt like the good times will never end. And then invariably what happened was everyone saw it working, jumped on it. And now they're everywhere and it's very much diluted the impact they once had. And so now I get creeping moments of scarcity mindset where it's like, well, I know what I'm talking about, but I just feel like I'm kind of starting to shout into the noise a little bit. And how do I break through? And it's amazing. You can literally, it's like two separate people. You can go from feeling bombastically confident to like, oh no, maybe this isn't all going to work out. And maybe I'm just a nobody. And
I stumble upon, I think I'm on someone's feed and I realise I'm not on their feed, and someone's just, there's so many of those that I don't know where I am. Am I on the person's feed I thought I was? I'm not. Sorry, it's a bit of a side thing.
You're in a safe space.
It's okay.
So I can think of I can think of a scarcity and an abundance mindset. A scarcity one I have is that I always feel like the other shoe is about to drop. So for instance, latest example, I literally have gone to my therapist about this, like all the time, constantly. So Procreate 5 comes out.
Sorry,
right?
Do you talk like in this technical detail with your therapist? They got other people with like these very traditional psychological issues and whatnot, and you're like, okay, so Procreate 5 just came out, and they're like, what is this?
What the hell's that? Yeah.
You having trouble procreating?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
No, I do talk about it like this, and I talk about competitors and different things like that, like by name. He's very familiar. But so Procreate 5 comes out. I think to myself, it's leading up to it. It's leading up to it. Okay, it's going to destroy the business. That's going to happen. Like it, and then of course my Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales, and that's right around the time Procreate comes out, and then like sales drop off. It happened. It finally happened. I thought it was going to happen with Fresco, and it didn't. I should have known that. Fresco's not ever going to be any good. Why was I worried about that? But I was. Okay. So I worried about that one. Notice I keep dissing on Fresco. I'm joking, Adobe. Like, Fresco's cool.
He's not joking.
Before that, I haven't used it enough. I don't know. But then like Adobe Max, or like then there was an update to something else. I'm constantly always feeling like there's not enough room once they do something. Yeah, like I'm like I don't have enough value. But then I have an abundance that I don't even know how it goes together. But I'll also, for instance, we did like a branding workshop training webinar thing, and we charged I think $197 or $297 for it. I mean, you can find branding things on Skillshare for free. And yet I feel like in my gut, just this abundance, we're offering something different.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. You can't find this anywhere because it's from this particular person with this particular view. And sure enough, it works out.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It's weird.
No,
they live together.
They're good examples, and I know exactly what you mean about the other shoe gonna drop. And I hate that feeling, man. Like, if I was still in therapy, I'd be talking about it for sure. Because, it's terrible. Again, it links so closely to imposter syndrome for me. I have those days where it's like, I know I'll be helping X number of people, and I feel so confident in my experience and my abilities. And then I have those days where I'm like, is this in my head? Like, am I actually just a fraud? Do I maybe not know what the hell I'm talking about?
Do you ever say to yourself, I find myself saying to myself or thinking, this is a one-off. You got lucky once, buddy.
Yes.
Once this thing's done, you can't do it again.
Yeah.
You got lucky once. If you have to do it again, you're screwed because you can't do it again.
Yeah.
Because you hit the jackpot once.
I thought that the other day. I was like, was I just right time and place and all that with design cuts? And, if I had to do something else years down the line in the future, could I pull it off? I had that exact internal dialogue.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I mean, so I'm not alone.
Oh no, I mean, it for me it happens quite often with drawing. If I do something that I really like, and then the next thought I have is, how am I going to do that again? Like, I don't
Mm.
think I'm going to be able to. So I think it's quite common.
Yeah, and like how this kind of stuff can change your life. This is not fluffy stuff. This could be the difference between like, you know what, it probably won't work out, so I'm not going to try, to like, I'm going to launch that project, I'm going to launch that company, that product, I'm going to take that job, I'm going to apply for that college. Like, it's so vital.
So do you think then, is it then the ability to push through that sense of lack, like there's not enough? In other words, you're pushing through that fear to actually get to the other side. So you get the better you are doing that, the more you can overcome that. Because if we allowed those feelings to actually override everything, we wouldn't move forward, right? So there's got to be something in us that actually gets us past that.
Yeah, I don't know if I've got the answers, to be honest. I feel like this episode is kind of us sharing our woes, and we go through this stuff too.
Yeah.
I would say time and growth and experience helps, because I'll tell you now, as much as I still get this stuff running a decent sized company, I got it a lot more when I had nothing to my name. Like when I was that struggling freelance designer getting no traction, then you really feel the scarcity mindset.
Because you have no proof. You have no proof.
Yeah, and you're like, will this
Yes.
ever work out? Like, quite possibly not. I need to go get a job in my local shop. When you're in that mindset, then you're not feeling very much abundance, I'll tell you now.
I'm glad you said that, Dustin, the thing about the proof, because I actually use that as a lot of to work through a lot of my scarcity mentality, because you have so many examples where it worked out when you just kind of did it anyway, even though you were scared of it. So that keeps it kind of like builds that muscle, doesn't it? It's like that whole thing of, I can do, it's not going to be as bad as we think. And I was just thinking about my when I decided to teach my process, I had like the scarcity mentality in the same time as the abundance mentality. Like, I first thought, what am I doing? That's insane. You're basically showing your competitors your exact step by step. You could be like out of a business kind of thing. But then at the same time, I thought, but that's insane, because they're not me, and I could be helping a whole bunch of people out there who are really struggling to, work through stuff, illustration techniques. And it's because as you said, Dustin, that whole proof of knowing that it can work. So I applied the examples of where I've done that in my life before, not even with illustration, with other things. And I just thought, well, that's really silly, and I've got to do this anyway. And now I love it. I think it's, I really want to expand on that. So, yeah, it's weird how you can.
I think at my most optimistic moments, I kind of think that thing. There's that famous quote from Steve Jobs where he says that the moment when you realize that the entire world around you has been built by people as smart or perhaps less smart than yourself, like the entire universe opens up to you. And I think in my more optimistic moments, I'll be like, wait a second, like for the most part, I'm not dealing with a bunch of brilliant geniuses around me and I'm trying to claw for scraps at the bottom of the table. These are all people that are just like me.
Yeah.
They have the same neuroses as me. They have the same struggles and the same whatever. It takes them time to get good at things. When I realize that, I'm like, well, it's just a numbers game. I mean, if you look at what someone's doing and you make your own flavor of it, and you follow some basic principles, it's you get what I'm saying. My best moments, I'll realize everything is made by people just like me. It's when we start to feel like I'm somehow inferior, I lack.
Yes. Yeah,
I thought we could do maybe a quick exercise where one of us or a few of us could say some of the more common scarcity mindset things that we hear from the design community, and then we could try and rebuttal them with something from an abundance mindset.
Nice.
So I'll start us off and you guys have to rebuttal me. I don't think that I can possibly charge anymore for my services.
Okay. There will always be clients who are willing to pay more.
Does anyone else charge more?
All right, now we're getting somewhere. That's inspiring me slightly more than Ian's. Okay. Yeah, Dustin. Other people charge more, but I couldn't, right?
Why?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not good enough. No one wants to give me that money.
Have you tried?
No, I just kind of guessed.
So how would you know if you haven't tried?
Because I suck, Lisa. I'm not good.
Shame, Tom. Can I give you a hug?
Yeah. I don't need a hug. I need some abundance mindset.
I think your skills are worth twice the amount you charge.
What do you possibly base that on, Ian?
I think you should definitely. You got nothing to lose. Actually, you got nothing to lose other than, well, your bad attitude towards yourself. Is that I think you should
sorry,
experiment.
why are you berating me? I already feel bad. No, you're making me more upset.
Like I said, I'll give you a hug, Tom.
No, sorry, keep going.
I think you should. You should try with if you're too concerned about going 50% more, you could try with a 20% increase. And I know it's scary.
It's really scarce. We started with a doubling, and now you're getting really scarce on us with 20%.
No, the reason why I'm saying 20% because you seem to be a little skeptical. So the 20% means that you can actually fly below the radar with actually even mentioning it to your clients. I think if you jump to a 50% increase, you probably more than likely need to actually engage about that. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you don't even want to do that. So I would go 20%.
I'm not really getting enough work in at the current price point. So if I raise it, surely I'm going to get even less.
No.
Maybe that's why. Maybe you're not charging enough, and that's why you're not getting enough work. Sometimes I judge people because they charge too little, and it makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Maybe when you charge more, you're going to see a flood of work because people will realize that you value yourself. My little buddy.
Can you tussle my hair and attaboy? Yes, go for Dustin. Came back up. All right, so just I agree with much of what you three have said. To kind of jump over to your side for a second here, I think Dustin, you said like, well, have you tried? And to take that a step further, I think there's actually an abundance of content and free information out there that very specifically trains people in how to raise their prices. And what I've noticed is when people are in this mindset, it's because they're dwelling and debating whether it's going to work out rather than doing and trying.
Just doing it, yeah.
So to an extent, just raising your prices can often work because often you're worth more than you think you are. But there are very specific strategies out there. We've done entire episodes on this podcast. There's all kinds of content out there with very actionable strategies. And so I would encourage people to either do their research, or if you're like their buddy and you're helping them out, be like, well, here's a list of 10 things. Don't come back to me until you've done all 10, because otherwise you're sat there going, oh, this won't work out, and X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, here's the exact strategy that has worked out for thousands, if not millions of other people. And until you've executed that strategy, you can't tell me you're out of options. You can't tell me you can't raise your prices. You can't tell me it doesn't work.
You have to take action before you can actually give a comment about it. Because unless you've tried, you actually don't have the authority, if I can call it that, to even comment on whether it's going to work or not. So you have to take action. Sorry. As uncomfortable as that is, it's got to happen.
You do. Like I used to sit around my friend's house and we'd say, oh, we're not getting booked for gigs anywhere. It's like, no, because we're sat around moaning about not getting booked for gigs anywhere.
Yeah, you got to go and get it.
But that's the interesting thing. I think it's almost impossible to be taking action, moving yourself forward, and at the same time say we're not getting anywhere. No one's like working on, getting clients, working on their next proposal, working on this, and then saying, it's never going to work. You don't think that then.
True.
You think in the dark moments when you're sitting doing nothing.
Yeah.
Staring at the TV, right? Like no one is ever like working towards something thinking this will never work. Well, maybe a little bit, but not nearly as much.
Yeah, it's so true. This is actually one of my biggest findings from 2019. but it came at the perfect time where I was having pretty much an anxiety attack. And I was really sick of feeling overwhelmed and anxious. And then this video just came up on my feed. And I think it was Jeff Bezos talking about anxiety and explaining how most anxiety actually comes from inaction. It's where you're frozen, knowing what you should be doing, and you've got this looming task at hand, but you haven't started it yet. And I remember feeling this horrendously at school with exams and revision. And I was there being like, oh, I need to be revising. Oh, these exams are looming. I feel so anxious. I should be revising. But I wasn't revising. I was freaking out about the fact I wasn't revising. And Jeff Bezos, in his example in this video, basically said, as soon as you actually start doing the thing, the anxiety fog starts to lift. And it's so true. And I've started forcing myself to do this more and more. And often, actually, when you start the task that seems monstrous and huge, it's fine. You start chipping away and you go, oh, that was 20 times easier than I thought it would be. And I can start small. You don't need to get the whole thing done, but just doing some of the easier parts or just doing any kind of work at all, you're like, well, now I'm not frozen and freaking out and anxious. I'm doing.
Yeah, which is why they always say don't overthink it, just take action. You know, because the minute you start allowing your brain to take control, it's over.
Yeah.
So like the mirror reversal of that is, if you want to feel super anxious, think about something you're worried about and then go find people you can watch that are doing it while you don't. That's the way you warm yourself up.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an endless pit of people doing stuff that you want to do that you not doing.
Go to Instagram and you'll see all sorts of people doing it while you watch them.
Oh my! And just sat inactively watching them succeed. I'm with you on this, Dustin. I've done this also recently a bit. I don't think I get anxiety as much as you, but every time that's like a surefire way to make myself feel terrible. It's so horrible.
I literally don't. I don't look at anything anymore because it just makes me anxious. I do Tim Ferriss has this thing called just-in-time learning. So I do just-in-time research, just-in-time learning. If we need to know something, I don't monitor people if I'm not going to be doing something. If we're going to be doing something, I'll look at competition or I'll look at similar things. But what on earth am I looking at it for if I'm not going to do anything? Just stressing me out, man.
Mm-hmm. And you seem happier for it, which is nice.
Yeah. I definitely feel way less stressed. The thing is to control yourself and be like, don't go there, buddy. Like, buddy, that path is dangerous, little buddy. You know?
I think because it doesn't actually hurt you in terms of because if you touch that electric fence and you go, oh, you're not going to do it again. But I think because it's so subtle, you don't know that it's hurting your business or hurting your mentality because it's so
insidious.
If you're thinking of desperation, and you're like, please work with me, I need to pay my rent, otherwise I'm going to lose my house, man. You become Lionel Hutz from The Simpsons. Or no, wait, is it Lionel Hutz where it's like, old Gil? No, Gil. You know who I'm talking about? That salesman where it's like, no, old Gil's going to lose his house. You got to help me, man. You become like that character. Whereas when you're like, I'm actually booked up for the next 6 months, I can see if maybe you're going to be a good fit for me. And maybe we can work together and that sounds amazing kind of thing. But you're doing that from a position of confidence as opposed to desperation.
Well, the same thing kind of happens at like a farmer's market, or anywhere. You go to the farmer's market and there's somebody selling paella or something like that. There's a big line just wrapping around the farmer's market. Everyone else is empty. And then you get up and have the paella, and the paella tastes like nothing. It's not even good. Well, what happened? 3 people got in line. Next thing you know, everyone's getting in line for this paella because there's a line. And round and round we go.
This is why the rich get richer, though.
Yeah. So what you want to do is just hire people to stand in your line.
Yeah.
People do that. People do that. In fact, I've heard of stories of them getting models in openings of retail clothing stores, and they have the models hang out in the stores like they're shopping. If you see a bunch of attractive people and you're like, this might be best. Maybe I'll get more attractive. I could use it. 20% boost.
Yeah, you just see a guy walking out of a restaurant. My goodness, that was the best meal I've had in my whole life. Slip them 5.
I mean, we laugh, but that's true, right?
Yeah.
How often do you watch, or I don't watch them as much as I used to, but, infomercials. I mean, if you clock the infomercial, half the thing is people talking about how great it is that are like customers or supposed customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, these are actors playing customers. I mean, so you literally know you're being BS'd, but like as you watch it, you're like, yeah, it seems to be working.
The clue for me is that no actual person talks the way those people do.
No,
it's
obviously.
like, this tooth whitening kit's the greatest thing that happened to me since I got married, kind of thing.
Yeah, true.
All my friends have
but
commented.
Yeah, we fall for it. I mean, it's the same thing as on like a commercial when they like the guy used to be like, I'm not a real doctor, but I play one on TV, and I recommend that. I mean, they don't do that for no reason. Like it works. Like I think it just makes us feel better to see someone with a stethoscope hanging over their shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, Dustin, you should bring one on the show and just see what people's reaction are. Yeah, Dustin really talks some sense.
Well, there's a first time for everything, right?
I mean, if when Tom introduced me, he said, Dustin Lee, Retro Supply PhD.
Oh, well, the PhD is fitting into the whole Big D thing.
Big D.
I mean, I guarantee you, like, if you could track it, you'd see more people rewinding on my words and like listening again.
Okay,
yeah, we've already seen the YouTube
episode.
Analytics, mate. You're getting all the airtime. People skip over us 3, and they just watch sections of Dustin.
Of Big D.
It's very, very demoralizing. There's my scarcity mindset, mate.
It won't be long until
that.
YouTube has a little filter where you just click and just want Big D only, and up where you get 4K.
I think that's another website, mate. That's not YouTube.
That's what I was thinking. I think there's already a website you can click on and get Big D.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
This has to end. This has to end at some point.
We need a new name for me.
Yeah, we really do. We need one that's more
quick.
PG.
Now.
So,
Hold on,
Tom,
I've got it.
Going back.
Dustin.
Yeah.
How about that?
What?
Always the original, always
Crustin?
the best. Yeah, Crustin. Crusty Dustin.
Nice. Great.
Sorry, Lisa. Going back.
No, so I was just gonna say, going back to your designer who's crying.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was a segue. Yeah. Help me, guys. You've gone off on a horrible tangent, and no one's listening to this episode anymore. They've all just hit stop.
I mean, we touched on a few things that the person does, but you guys mentioned desperation and confidence.
Sure.
People do pick up on energy. So if you
quote Super Troopers, desperation is a stinky cologne.
Well, it is, isn't it?
Sorry, Lisa, please.
Maybe we could add that to our collection of Ode to Toilets.
Yes.
Desperation.
We could just have like a pack of 4 where it's desperation, success,
I can
comparison.
see this is the last episode of the year because you guys are clearly not in the mood for work. It's nice.
We're not. Sorry, Lisa. Please finish your point.
For you.
Okay,
no,
don't. Dustin's go.
Points made.
We're being very silly. I apologise.
I like it.
I know something I hear a lot, whether someone's a freelancer or creating a t-shirt shop, whatever it is. You guys probably hear this all the time too. It's too saturated. It's just too saturated. I don't know. There's no way. It's too late.
I presume they're talking about like the colours being very vibrant.
Designer joke. Monkey butt pink.
It's not lame, guys. That's designer humour. Okay.
Dustin's quite saturated
which
at the moment.
Which is usually lame.
See, hold on. I told you around the end of every episode, Ian gets a savage remark in. He just said Dustin's quite saturated in the face.
Well, he brought it up. It wasn't me.
Well, Dustin's living the monkey
I didn't bring it up.
dream.
I followed your white balance advice.
I'm telling you, Ian is he's a snake in the grass. Every episode, he's literally hiding away there, and he just comes out and bites you at the end.
He's like the guy in the class that's walking behind you, and he waits till the opportunity to like step in on your knee and make you like collapse to the ground.
Yeah, in front of the whole cafeteria.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? When you like, if you step just right into the joint of someone's knee, like it makes them like bend down,
yeah. Oh, that really tickled me. It is true what they say about bullying. It's actually funny when it happens to someone else. There you go.
Yeah, it is. And it's hurtful when it's the other person.
Yeah, I got it last episode. This is much better.
Oh, and now you know what it feels like. Yay, sorry.
No, but it's too saturated out there, guys. I mean, yeah, my face is saturated, but also the market's saturated. The market's so saturated that the saturation is saturated. You guys, I'm worried about market saturation, and all you guys can do is laugh like a bunch of idiots.
I agree. I agree with your saturation.
Ian, you're supposed to encourage me, my friend. Give me some.
I was agreeing with your saturation analogy.
Well, the first thing I'd say is that it hasn't been done by you, which will be a unique take. That's if you stick to being you and not copy somebody else. now you use grey.
Yeah, for anyone watching or listening rather than watching the YouTube, Dustin has desaturated his video. People.
Now he looks like the advertising for our over toilet.
I'm glad, to be honest. This is a refreshing break. I was being blinded by the ruddy hue for this episode.
It's like a commercial. It's like, is the market too saturated?
Oh no!
Yeah, it really is. But what do I do? Yeah, I agree with what Lisa was saying. I think as well, use it as fuel to create something original and different and find the right space and find the angles, right? You can either dwell and be like, oh, well, it's all been done, or you can figure out something that hasn't been done. Or even you can look at it and go, well, it's been done and that proves demand, right? Am I going to get really down on the fact that there's clearly a vibrant industry where people are regularly paying for this service? That indicates that there is opportunity for me to be part of this vibrant industry, as opposed to me jumping into something completely blind that's never been tried or tested and could be a complete flop, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just too late. I've lost it. I've already, like, the wave's already passed me. I can't get on it and ride it.
Well, find a different wave, my friend, and ride that sucker home.
Like, what you want to do though is that okay, talking in terms of like NASCAR or Formula One, where you can, go in the slipstream with what's already going on and then come out on your own. So build up momentum by just following what is popular, and then do that thing where it's like a slingshot or something, where you can come out and just, I don't know, it was in one of the films. So
it was in that don't tell, the one with roller skates and the really cool women.
Xanadu?
What?
I don't remember this one.
Dustin, can you do me a favor, and just because we're having a bit of a silly one, for all the YouTube viewers out there, can you turn your video black and white again and pretend like you're just looking out into the distance, kind of staring intently, and just be like, beauty, synergy, moisture, Dustin's musk.
Oh no. I don't want to know what Dustin's musk smells like.
Why? It's good. It's energizing. It activates parts of your brain that you haven't had activated in so long with energy.
It's definitely got to be the cover art, done in the sort of like...
like do a little perfume advert.
With a thin sans serif type, just like, widely spaced in the middle.
Just saying musk.
No, it's got to be Big D musk.
Just musk and Lee.
Oh, no. I actually think that might get us in trouble. I don't think you can say Big D musk.
It could be retro scent, which could lead to other things.
What kind of other
Okay, guys, you do know that we're having a laugh at the expense of the listeners.
Yeah,
are we?
We're terribly sorry, Lisa. We're very sorry, listeners. This will be
If
the
there's
last
anyone ever
time.
listening now, they probably would turned off.
Yeah.
Everyone already left a long time ago.
There's just the four of us now.
It's just us right now.
Just amusing ourselves.
Yeah.
Think we're alone now.
Let's try. I actually need to run in a second, so.
Even you don't want to stick around for your own show. You're like I gotta
I'm
go.
out of it. I quit.
Even you're like a friend at my party was like, I can't stay long. I gotta go.
Got to go home and wash my hair. So yeah,
please stay.
to sum up today's episode. Oh, God, there's only so many words.
Good luck with
Disastrous. Yeah, basically, scarcity mindset. It is self-imposed. It is never the market telling you or your competitors telling you. It comes from within. And if there's anyone out there in your space who is killing it or who's breaking out or who's starting to do well, don't be jealous. Realize like you can literally do it too. Lisa's giggling. On that note, we'll see you next time. Lisa, do you want to sign us off? You seem like you're ready to say something.
Wait a minute.
I can't. I could just picture the feeling within.
The feeling within.
Dustin.
Okay, so we will see you all next week. That's it from us.
I was going to go combat scarcity with action.
Oh, right. That's a good point. Combat scarcity with action. Solid closing nugget from Ian. This episode was sponsored by Dustin's Musk.
That could be my scent. Ian's nugget.
We look out next quarter for Dustin's Musk shipping worldwide. That's it from us. See you next time.
Bye. Very later.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. As always, you can find full show notes over at honestdesigners.com or find us over on iTunes and now Spotify by searching for The Honest Designers Show. And remember, we're now on social media too, if you search for Honest Designers. If today's episode helped you, then it would mean the world to us if you took just a moment to leave us a quick review over on iTunes, as this is one of the best ways for other designers to discover the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next week right here on The Honest Designers Show.